Hi everybody, I'm Bill Sanders and this is Watch Outside, the art and science of watch collection. Today we're going to be taking a look at Abdul's additions to his collection. Not long ago we reviewed his collection, and since then he's added a number of watches, or had some that he didn't have the first time. Anyway, so we're going to do that. The first thing on a wristwatch check, I have my FP Journe Chronomet Souverain on. One of my favorite watches to wear. It's just a good wearing watch. Okay, in order to get going, we'll start with the first one, the Fortis automatic cushion, and the Fortis. Most of these are not, or what we just call really expensive watches. But they're watches that are interesting. I mean, that's it. If some of them are quartz, and they're not too interesting, at least to me, but they're, they do have some interesting shapes. The Fortis automatic cushion, also most of them have ETA movements. I'm going to get to that at the end of this review. And this Fortis, I believe, is one of them. Okay, the other aspect of it is there's a really interesting variety of designs, and so I'm going to try to focus on the designs more than anything else. This one next to it, it's got sort of an upside down panda with 3 subdials, the center seconds, and it's an automatic multifunction, and it runs on an ETA 2892-2, and it's a pretty interesting watch. I mean, the looks of it, and I don't know the brand at all, but it's an automatic, it's mechanical, and it is interesting. Now, at the bottom is there's a Jean-Marcel Icarus chronograph. Now it has another interesting movement, the Lemania 5100. By the way, too, I went and saw a movie about the first guy who landed on the moon. I forgot the name of the movie, but one of the things about it was that they took the Omega Man on the Moon Speedmaster, and that had a Lemania movement in it. So a little trivia there. Okay, now that's another interesting one. Now next to it is called a Vaugery chronograph. Now this is a quartz watch, and quartz almost to me is like having a smartwatch because they're so accurate and they run on quartz and the battery and so forth. But boy, this design, when I saw that design, the way it curves into the case, the way the bracelet curves into it, it's a pretty cool looking watch. Okay, this next watch, or this next set of watches, first of all is the Mido Oceans Star Dado Day Commander. It's gold, in, I don't know what kind it is, gold filler, gold, they have something else that it's a type of gold. But it's not the 18 karat solid gold, so don't get excited, but it's sort of an interesting looking watch. Mido has an interesting history. Now this one, has got, it's got an in-house movement that's called the Easy 2-3. And again, this is one that's I don't know much about. It's something though. The thing I like about watches I don't know much about is that I can learn about them, and so I've got a lot to learn here. Next to it is a Sin Flieger 2. It's called the Sin 356 SA Flieger 2. And it's a pilot's watch, and it's got 3 subdials at 12, 6, and 9 o'clock, and then it's got the day date at, oh wait a minute, it's the day date or month date, it's hard to see. let's see, it's got an ETA Valjoux 7750 in it, and it looks like it's got the date. It is a date, except it's a date. It has the month and then the day of the month. Date. All right. Then it has 3 subdials and it has chronograph functions in it. Now, at the bottom, the Timex Marlin 34 millimeter. If you look at the dial on that, I think there are at least 2 brands that have a 1966 style of dials on it, and this is that dial. Except this is probably from nearer to 1966 than some of the other ones. Now this was got Abdul got this in OS. Now one of the reasons may have been because it's 34 millimeters, which is considered these days a tad on the small size. But boy, if you look at the dial on that thing, it looks like, I'm trying to think, is it Glashütte original, I think, or Gerard Perregaux, one of those, I think, it looks like the same dial. So anyway, it's a cool looking watch, and believe me, you got a better deal on it than, at least price wise, than you would on some of these other ones. The Squally 1521 Ocean Blasted Professional, that goes down to 500 meters. This one is, I'm not sure about this one. I mean, anything goes down to 500 meters is certainly a solid diving watch of some sort. And it's got it has the crown at 4 o'clock rather than at 3, or it's actually more like 4:30 almost. And again, it's I don't know what the movement on it is. It hasn't been indicated. Okay. This next group is, now we're getting into, I think, so a little more upscale watches. The top 2, the Seiko Presage, and again, I'm talking about relative terms. This isn't relative to high horology, but it's relative to some of the other ones in the collection. But, you know, not everybody has to have, you know, super expensive watches. Abdul's, I think, are very interesting, though, even though they're ones that you don't have to pay a lot for. Okay, so here are the 2 Seikos. I think they're both very pretty. The one on the right with the white dial, this is a blue dial, and I don't quite see the blue in it. On the other hand, the one on the left with a black dial, maybe I have them mixed up, but one of them was blue. Neither one of them looked very blue to me, but they're good looking watches. I like the crown, especially on the one with the, I'll call it a silver dial, and then the one on the left with the leaf hands. I really like the leaf hands, sort of the way they come out like that. Now those are 2 good looking watches. At the bottom now, the Seiko, I believe it's a Seiko Alarm, with, you know, a chronograph. Now this is a quartz watch, and it's also got the world timer. It's got everything. It's one of those one fits all. Well, you can do that with quartz, and it's not going to break the bank on it. The one at the bottom is called the Yellow Domed Vintage. It's the yellow quartz. Abdul got that, I think he got it from someone in the family, and he doesn't know what it is, and neither do I, but even though it's a quartz watch, it's very, very interesting looking, especially with the dome glass on the front, and then the little date window at 6 o'clock. Something about this watch I really like. It's just a cool looking watch. You know, I don't know what else much more I can say about that. Okay, now these final 2, you have a Buchner golden watch, and what Abdul did, he took photographs of both the dial and the movement. the one on the top, the Buchener Golden Watch, has an ETA 2391 in it. And one of the things that you can do, I think, and I think this would be something that Abdul could really have a good time with, and that is start thinking about doing a little watch, well, let's say watch adjustments. Start with watch adjustments. And looking at that, it seemed to be a very easy watch to adjust. It's got the back off, and it has access to that. And you took a toothpick. You want to use a toothpick is probably be the best thing to work with, unless you have a pegwood stick. Is to get a timer if you don't have one, time grapher, or one I like to use is a little clip-on one that you can put into your iPhone. I think they also have them for Androids, and do your time graphing that way. And fix your accuracy on it. On my first one that I built, I think it had an error of 0.3 seconds. 0.3, not even 1 second, but a third of 1 second a day. And I was able to do that simply by adjusting the regulator on the right above the escapement. And with an ETA 2391, that's a great thing about ETAs for watchmaking. Lots of information on that and how to do it. Now, the one on the bottom, the Silex chronograph, that's a little more complicated, but it has a Landron 248 in it. And again, that is to me, a watchmaker would really like that. The one on the top, the ETA 2391, you can see those four sort of purplish things. Those are jewels that house their pivots for the wheel train, for gears in the wheel train. And what you have to do is that if you take that off and do some work on it, getting it back on, it's one of the hardest things to do. I have a very hard time doing it, and so I have to do it very carefully. Now, if you look at the one on the bottom, if you take off the one in the middle, you remove the screw from that, there are just two of them. And so it's a lot easier to coordinate or adjust for two gears than it is four at the same time. So, and also too, you can play around with and I don't mean play around, I mean very carefully, and try to get some kind of containment so it doesn't get all dusty and everything. So I think one thing, Abdul, because you have a lot of the same watches, but there's a lot you can do with these watches. I sort of, the way I look at ETA now, I used to be sort of upset with it. I never really was upset with ETA. I was always upset with these watch companies that would charge high horology prices for something and stick in an ETA and call it something else. But the ETA movements are okay. I mean, they're okay movements. And when you look at them like this, you can see that they're nice, clean movements. But the fun part is that you can make adjustments to them, and so you don't have to take them down to the watchmaker, and yet at the same time, you can have a nice, accurate watch. When it comes time to service them, you have to learn a little more, but hey, it's sort of fun. All right, well, anyway, I want to thank Abdul yet again for providing me with all the photographs of his watches, actually, twice. And so, by the way, too, for anyone else who'd like a watch collection review, just send me, some good pictures of your watches. And I really don't need the front and the back, just a good picture of the dial. And if you got something interesting about the going on with the movement, yeah, that'd be cool too. All right, well, by the way, your opinion's important. Please do it. And this is an invitation, as always, to subscribe if you'd like. And turned cold. I got on my Estonian sweater. These are, man, it must get cold in Estonia because they know how to make sweaters. All of a sudden it was like 80 degrees the other day, Fahrenheit, and suddenly it was like, the high was 40 today. Crazy weather we're having. That's New England for you, though. We're going into fall and winter, though, I can tell that. All right, so, oh, by the way, too, one last thing. In about, let's see, just a little over about a week and a half from now is the New York Watch Time Show. If you're in the area and you can get to New York, take a look. It's online. Just put in Watch Time New York and it'll come up. Great watch show. There are a number of those who are subscribers and people have met online. We're all going to go there. It'll be a lot of fun. Okay. Hope to see you next Friday. And until then, this is Bill Sanders for Watch Art Side, the Art and Science of Watch Collection.